shooting war has ended, the propaganda war continues. North Korea is one of the world's most isolated countries, a hermit kingdom hermetically sealed from the rest of civilization. It's a country both astoundingly brutal and almost comically absurd.
Delusions, propaganda.
Officially, North Korea is divided into three classes: the workers, the peasants, and the intellectuals.
The North Korean government has a desire to keep its citizens from interacting with the outside world, and one of the ways to ensure this is making tourism virtually impossible.
North Koreans are allowed no external internet access, though some can gain access to the country's intranet, also populated entirely with regime propaganda.
North Korea teaches its own version of history and current affairs. It's one of the reasons why access to the outside world here is so tightly controlled.
State radio is piped to every kitchen. Listeners can turn the volume down, but not off.
A single television channel is dedicated to exalting the leadership of dictator Kim Jong-un and instilling fanatical devotion to his regime.
There is only one channel. It broadcasts propaganda news, films, and entertainment for 5 hours per day.
As residents battle starvation after a drought hit farms and shortages were compounded by party officials confiscating food.
Officially, there are only 28 hairstyles which are legal in the country.
A hidden famine in the farming provinces of North and South Gwangju is believed to have killed up to 10,000 people, and there are fears that incidents of cannibalism have risen.
Are not expected to survive for too long, and their corpses are disposed of by being eaten.
One informant was quoted as saying a man who killed his own 2 children and ate them. One man dug up his grandchild's corpse and ate it. Another boiled his own child for food.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I'd like to be a journalist, she says, so I can spread the greatness of the Marshal Kim Jong-un throughout the world.
Did you know America existed?
Not at all.
Did you know that the world was round?
I had no idea if it was round or square.
Have you ever been on Facebook?
Facebook?
Never heard of Facebook.
No.
Little known to many outside North Korea, though, is the network of prison camps, concentration camps, really, that house political prisoners and their families.
The UN's Human Rights Council established an international commission which looks into the truth of North Korea's prison camps. The labor camps are death camps, largely resembling the ones established during World War II.
Did anybody ever explain to you why you were in a camp?
No, never. Because I was born there, I just thought those people who carry guns were born to carry guns. And prisoners like me were born as prisoners. What I thought was that the society outside the camp would be similar to that inside the camp.
You thought everybody lived in a prison camp like this?
Yes.
It is not only you who gets punished. 3 entire generations be imprisoned.
Marriage, if you could call it that, was arranged by the guards as a reward for hard work.
Did they live together? Did they see each other every day?
No.
Kijangdong is an uninhabited village in North Korea, built to look quite marvelous when viewed from the border. The village looks prosperous, but in reality, it's empty, being a tool for this propaganda.
Only when he was 23, when he met somebody from the outside, that started to change.
Prisoners he met while working in Camp 14. Unlike Shin, the new prisoner had seen the outside world.
Protesters in South Korea flew 30,000 leaflets via balloon to North Korea.
2 groups released 10 balloons laden with money and leaflets in Gimpo, South Korea today.
Groups filled large helium balloons with anti-Pyongyang leaflets before letting the wind
Hundreds of thousands of leaflets have been sent across the heavily armed border, many containing US dollars or Chinese yuan and North Korean cash.
We're sending these leaflets to deliver the actual facts and truth which I've learned while living in the Republic of Korea to our families left in the
50
north.
South Korean civic group members gathered at Ganghwa Island near the sea border west of Seoul and released 6 balloons toward North Korea.
A group of civic organizations packed hundreds of thousands of leaflets as well as cash into 5 large balloons. Millions of leaflets have been sent to the north over the years.
Each balloon carries envelopes that contain a message in either $1 US or 10 yuan bill. Some of the messages are reports about North
The balloons also contained North Korean cash for starving residents in the communist state. About a dozen civilians gathered at Injimgak in Paju near the border. to prepare and send 100,000 leaflets with about $2,000 worth of North Korean currency.
Group already sent 2 sets of 100,000 anti-North Korea leaflets into the north in October, and earlier this month the balloons carried 30,000 anti-North Korea leaflets. The protesters also prepared some $1 bills and underwear for North Korean residents, but did not send them to the north because the wind direction wasn't ideal.
A North Korean defector has parachuted DVDs of the interview into the country.
It turns out that they forgot the balloons. Challenge Kim Jong-un's monopoly on information.
There's an organization that parachutes copies of the Bible into North Korea. Although the Bible is banned in North Korea via the so-called Bible balloons. The balloons have an imprint of Mark, the shortest of the Gospels, and when the wind allows it, they are sent over the border into North Korea. The balloons have holes poked in them, which eventually make them deflate after floating a certain calculated distance.
This military truck has the hydrogen in it, all the material that is going to be launched into North Korea. And his controversial idea? To rain the North with copies of the interview. There are sometimes primitive strategies for getting information into North Korea.
저 연습을 해봤습니다. 3사람이 하는 건데, 근데 이게 400야드가 넘어가니까 여기서 펑펑 싸가지고 USB라든지 그런 물자들 넘긴 데는.
Getting information into the North was once the remit of the South Korean government. There's dollar bills, there's cash in there, there's propaganda, and we also have thumb drives.
DVD players are surprisingly prevalent in North Korea, and crucially, all of the ones going in these days, they don't just have a DVD function, they have a USB input port as well.
So this is the GPS you're putting on?
Yep, GPS receiver and a satellite transmitter, and so it'll get the GPS position and then send that up to a satellite, which will bounce it back down to a server on the internet.
Facebook is said to be getting into the drone business. The social media company is said to be in talks to buy drone maker Titan Aerospace for $60 million. Facebook will begin by building 11,000 drones and using them first to bring internet access to Africa.
Google's not alone in the internet space race. Rival tech firm Facebook's Internet.org project has some ambitious plans of its own to contend with, involving satellites, drones, and even lasers. Of course, this isn't the only stab Google's taking at universal web access. It's Project Loon, which aims to provide internet access via a network of balloons.
Drones would give Facebook the ability to give wireless internet access to underdeveloped countries around the world.
Solar-powered drones capable of delivering wireless internet to the most remote regions on Earth.
The team will upload your location to the drone, load up into a canister, and loads the burrito attached to a tiny burrito-sized parachute.
These drones create an ultra-fast response system, bringing down the average response time of an ambulance.
Getting aid to a war zone in a swarm of drones deliver food and medicine to people in an area.
Matternet's vision is simple. Use a network of unmanned drones to quickly move food, medical supplies, and other emergency gear into hard-to-access areas.
Aleppo, Syria's largest city, and once the country's economic hub. Now, this. Aleppo is less than 50 kilometers from Turkey, but unreachable. Constant fighting means aid agencies can't get here. Custom-made drones aimed at ending starvation as a weapon of war.
We're trying to use small UAVs or drones to bring medical supplies, food, and other humanitarian goods into Syria. We don't just want to send a few airplanes in, we want hundreds of airplanes going, thousands of airplanes.
repentance has taken Shin all over the world. He speaks at human rights rallies, meets with U.S. congressmen, and is telling his story to us in part because he's frustrated by how much attention the press pays to North Korea's new leader, Kim Jong-un, and how little attention gets paid to the people in the camps.
It won't be guns and bombs that free the captive citizens of North Korea, activists say. It will be schmaltzy South Korean soap operas,
이 아파트를 넘겨.
overdubbed episodes of Friends, and an inflammatory Seth Rogen and James Franco film.